Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive with us?
I am.
Awesome. So today we're going to be taking a close look at the murder of Lisa Ziegert.
All right.
We've got some excerpts from the Unsolved Mysteries website
Okay.
and an article from People magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to unpack this really tragic story and explore like the key facts of the twist and turn
Right.
and how it all, ended up.
Yeah.
Um, for those of you who might not be familiar with the case, it's the story of a young teacher
Okay.
in Agawam, Massachusetts,
Okay.
who disappeared in 1992.
Right.
And it led to this very, very long and complicated investigation.
Yeah, and it's one that really showcases how both traditional detective work and the advancements that we've seen in DNA technology can be like crucial in solving these crimes, especially the ones that go cold for years.
Right. Okay. So before we get into the investigation, let's sort of like paint a picture of who Lisa Ziegert was.
Okay.
She was a special needs teacher.
Right.
And she was very beloved
Hmm.
by her students, it seems,
Yeah.
and the community.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother, Dee Ziegert, described her.
Okay.
She said, quote, Lisa was a very special person.
Mm-hmm.
With the kids, she always had a special rapport. They knew that she really liked them and that she treated them like people.
Yeah, I think that's something that's like always really important to highlight in these cases is the human side of it, you know?
All right.
These are individual lives.
Yeah.
That are forever altered by these like tragic events.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that Lisa was more than just a victim.
Yeah.
She was a vibrant young woman who had a passion for teaching and like she had a positive impact on those around her.
Absolutely. So let's go back to April 15th, 1992.
Okay.
It was Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
a seemingly ordinary Wednesday.
Right.
Lisa finished up at school, and then she headed to her second job at a carding gift shop.
Okay.
Her sister Lynn even stopped by to chat with her for a bit.
Yeah.
That was all very normal,
Yeah.
which makes what happened next even more jarring, I think.
I think that's a good point. Like that contrast between the ordinary and then like this sudden disruption of that normalcy.
Yeah.
I think it adds to the chilling nature of these stories a lot of times.
Right.
Because it really does drive home that idea that these events can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time.
It's unsettling, for sure.
Yeah.
So the next morning, Lisa's coworker, a woman named Sophia Maynard, arrived to open the shop.
Okay.
Lisa's car was in the lot,
Okay.
but something felt off.
Mm-hmm.
Sophia called out Lisa's name,
Oh.
but she didn't get an answer.
Okay.
And then she found Lisa's belongings behind the counter,
Oh, wow.
like her drawings, her purse, even her car keys.
Mm-hmm.
Sophia later recalled, quote, and then I just kind of freaked out. I knew that something was wrong.
Yeah.
She ran across the street to a restaurant and immediately called the police.
It's interesting, too, how it's that gut feeling that something's just not right, you know?
Yeah.
That often leads to these initial discoveries and these like seemingly small details, like you said, the car being there, but personal items being left behind, they can often become crucial pieces of the puzzle, you know? Like
Yeah, they become these red flags
yeah.
that something is really, really wrong.
Yeah.
So police arrived, and they quickly realized that this is no ordinary disappearance.
Right.
They found signs of a struggle.
Okay.
In the back storeroom,
Mm-hmm.
some blood,
Right.
but there was no other physical evidence.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mystery.
Yeah.
So immediately, the FBI and Massachusetts State Police, they launched this massive search
Wow.
for Lisa. And her mother, Dee, she clung to hope. She
Right.
said, quote, I couldn't let myself believe that everything wasn't going to be okay, that she would be found, and no matter what had happened, that we would be able to have her back.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I think the sheer scale of the search efforts, combined with, like you said, that desperate hope from the family, it only underscores like the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, these investigations, like they consume so many resources,
Yeah.
but it's driven by this urgent need for answers.
It's a reminder, too, of how these events just ripple outward,
Mhm.
impacting not just the victim's family,
Absolutely.
but like the entire community.
The whole community.
Yeah. Sadly, on Easter Sunday, 4 days after Lisa vanished, her body was found
Oh, wow.
in a wooded area
Mm-hmm.
just outside of town.
Right.
And it was a devastating discovery, obviously.
Yeah.
It cast a shadow over the holiday
Yeah.
and left the town of Agawam reeling.
I imagine, yeah. You know, finding the body in that location, that immediately raises questions, right? Like,
Yeah.
was this a crime of opportunity, or was Lisa taken to that specific location for a reason? I'm sure it was a detail that investigators would definitely focus on, just trying to, like, understand its significance in, like, the bigger picture.
Right.
Yeah.
It adds another layer of complexity to the case.
Right.
But there were some early leads in the investigation. Captain Robert Campbell of the Agawam Police Department described 3 crucial phone tips.
Okay.
That helped police establish, like, a timeline of events.
Yeah. And I think these early tips are often vital in these cases, just to piece together, like, that sequence of events leading up to a crime.
Right.
They offer a framework, or a starting point for investigators to build upon.
Yeah, they almost create like a roadmap
Exactly.
through the investigation. So the first tip came from a customer with a time-stamped receipt,
Okay.
placing them at the shop at 8:20 p.m.
Okay.
They didn't report anything unusual,
Right.
but it did confirm that Lisa was at the shop
Right. Right.
at that time.
So it's important, even if there isn't something unusual, it's like that timestamp becomes a crucial anchor point.
Yes.
It allows them to start mapping out the events of the evening and narrowing down the window of opportunity for when this crime might have taken place.
It's like setting a clock for the entire investigation.
Yeah, exactly.
The second tip came from a customer who arrived at the shop around 9:00 p.m.
Okay.
And the lights were on,
Uh-huh.
but no one was at the counter.
Mm-hmm.
This customer heard banging noises
Oh, wow.
coming from the back room,
Okay.
which led investigators to believe that Lisa may have been back there, possibly on the floor.
Right.
And there were even kick marks on the bottom of the door,
Oh, wow.
which added to that theory.
Those details are chilling.
Right.
The banging sound, the
Right.
kick marks, it paints this picture of a possible struggle, a desperate attempt to escape.
Yeah.
And it really does kind of bring, like, a sense of urgency and danger to the timeline, doesn't it?
Yeah, it shifts the narrative from a disappearance
Right.
to something much more sinister.
Yeah, exactly.
And the third tip, this one was perhaps the most intriguing. A witness who was working near the card shop
Okay.
saw a vehicle leaving the area around 9:15 p.m.,
Okay.
heading towards the area where Lisa's body was later found. They described it as a late model Bronco
Okay.
or Blazer, either dark red or dark blue.
Right.
They also mentioned seeing what looked like a struggle
Oh, wow.
between a man and a woman
Mm-hmm.
in the back seat.
And this is where things really start to take shape, right? It
Mhm.
provides a possible escape route,
Yeah,
a potential link between the crime scene
yeah,
and where they discovered her body.
yeah.
But then it also introduces this possibility of more than one perpetrator, right?
Right.
Which could really complicate the investigation.
It's like a whole other dimension of the puzzle suddenly appears.
Exactly, yeah.
So now we have a timeline, a possible suspect vehicle description, right, and witness accounts.
Yeah,
It seems like, it should be a solvable case.
you would think so, yeah.
But despite these initial leads, the case went cold for many years.
Wow. And that's the frustrating reality, right, of a lot of these investigations. Even with, like, promise and leads, sometimes those pieces just don't fall into place right away. And it really makes you wonder, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Why did this investigation stall despite these seemingly, like, strong starting points?
It's a question that would haunt investigators
Yeah.
and the community
Right.
for over 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
But then in 2016, a glimmer of hope emerged.
Okay.
A composite image of a possible suspect was released.
Right.
And it was created using this revolutionary technique called DNA phenotyping.
Oh, wow. So this is where science really steps into the spotlight.
Right.
DNA phenotyping is the ability to predict someone's physical appearance based solely on their DNA.
Right.
And it has totally transformed forensic investigations. It's like having a sketch artist who can work at, like, a molecular level.
It is.
It's like giving them a visual representation
Yeah.
of a potential suspect, even years after the crime.
It's incredible how this technology can breathe new life into these cold cases.
It really is, yeah.
And in Lisa's case, it helped investigators zero in on a person of interest
Okay.
who'd been on their radar
Right.
since the early days of the investigation.
Right.
A man named Gary Shara.
Oh, okay. So this is where things really come full circle, right?
Right.
Like, this person of interest from 1993
Yeah.
re-emerges as a key figure over 2 decades later, thanks to these advancements in DNA technology.
Right.
I think it speaks to the persistence of law enforcement
Yeah.
and, like, the incredible power of scientific progress.
It really does. Shara was officially arrested in 2017,
Wow.
and he was charged with murder, aggravated rape,
Right.
which, that involves certain aggravating factors
Right.
that make the crime more severe.
Yeah.
And kidnapping was a long-awaited breakthrough in the case.
It's interesting, that gap between being a person of interest
Yeah.
and an arrest.
Yeah.
I think it highlights just the complexities of these investigations. Like building a solid case takes time. Yeah.
And sometimes it requires waiting for, the right technology or the right evidence to become available.
It shows how an investigation is truly a marathon and not a sprint.
Totally. Yeah.
And sometimes the most crucial piece of evidence
Right.
comes from a very unexpected source.
Right.
In Shara's case, it was his girlfriend
Wow.
who provided investigators with his written confession,
Oh, wow.
his will,
Wow.
and an apology letter.
Wow. What a twist.
Yeah.
To have a written confession in a murder case is incredibly rare.
Right.
It's like such a powerful piece of evidence.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to the complex psychology of guilt, right?
Yeah.
And in some cases, that need for a perpetrator to kind of unburden themselves.
Yeah.
To acknowledge their actions, even if it leads to their capture.
It's almost hard to believe. It's like something you would see in a movie,
Totally.
but it was very real
Yeah.
and incredibly impactful. Right. And I'm sure it essentially expedited that legal process, you know?
Yeah.
With such a strong piece of evidence, it's like the prosecution's case was almost irrefutable.
You're right. And in 2019, Shara pleaded guilty to first-degree murder
Okay.
and was sentenced to life in prison after 27 long years.
Wow.
Lisa Zegert's family and the community finally had some semblance of justice.
It's a bittersweet victory, isn't it?
Yeah.
While justice was served, it can't erase the pain and the suffering that was caused by this crime, but it does offer that sense of closure, that feeling that Lisa's memory is finally honored.
It's a complex mix of emotions.
It is, yeah.
For sure. But there is another layer to this story that I think we need to address.
Okay.
As we were going through these sources, we noticed some discrepancies between the initial Unsolved Mysteries account and the People magazine article.
Right.
Unsolved Mysteries hinted at the possibility of multiple perpetrators,
Oh.
while the People article focused solely on Shara's confession.
And I think this is a great example of why it's so important to always be thinking critically
Right.
and to consider multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
Whenever you're evaluating information,
Yeah.
we should never rely solely on a single source,
Yeah.
especially when we're dealing with these complex cases
Right.
like this one.
And to add another layer of intrigue,
Okay.
there are many comments on the Unsolved Mysteries website
Right.
from people who are claiming to have inside knowledge,
Oh, wow.
hinting at a possible cover-up or that Shara took the fall
Right.
to protect someone else.
It's important to approach those claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, right?
Yeah.
Online forums can often magnify rumors and misinformation,
Right.
but at the same time, we also can't completely ignore that possibility
Right.
that those theories could hold some truth,
Yeah.
even if it's just a small piece of the puzzle.
Right. Sometimes, those seemingly far-fetched theories
Yeah.
can lead to unexpected discoveries.
Yeah,
It reminds me of that saying, truth is stranger than fiction.
it really is.
Right. So, putting on our detective hats for a moment, let's say, hypothetically,
Okay.
that there was someone else involved.
Okay.
What possible reasons would Shara have for protecting them?
Yeah.
What would be the motive?
Right. And that's a question that delves into the complexities of human relationships, right?
Yeah.
And their motivations. There are a few possibilities.
Yeah.
Maybe this other person was a close friend
Yeah.
or a family member. And Shara felt this overwhelming sense of loyalty or obligation
Right.
to shield them from the consequences.
Yeah.
Or there's the possibility that Shara was threatened
Right.
or coerced into taking the blame.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe this other person had leverage over him, something they could use to ensure his silence.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's like we've opened this Pandora's box of possibilities.
It is.
Suddenly we're in this world of secret alliances and hidden motives.
Right.
The potential for a much larger conspiracy.
Totally.
It makes you wonder how deep those secrets go.
Exactly.
Right.
And it really emphasizes that human element to all of this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're dealing with real people
Yeah.
with these complex relationships and these hidden secrets and motivations that we might never fully understand. And it really does remind us that truth can be subjective.
Yeah.
And even confessions don't always paint that complete picture.
And we can't forget about Lisa Zeigert's family
Right.
and the impact that all of this speculation
Yeah.
has on them.
Right.
Can you imagine the emotional turmoil of having some form of justice,
Right.
but still grappling with these unanswered questions
Right.
and these lingering doubts?
Yeah, I bet it's incredibly difficult to find, like, true peace and closure. It undoubtedly just adds another layer of complexity to their healing journey,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
These lingering mysteries can keep wounds open
Yeah.
and, like, prevent families from fully moving forward,
Yeah.
you know? It's a stark reminder that closure can be a long and winding road,
It is.
especially when you're dealing with such a horrific and impactful crime.
It's a reminder that these cases don't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they have these real-world consequences
Yeah.
that extend far beyond the courtroom.
Absolutely.
So here we are, we have a confession.
Right.
We have a conviction,
Yeah.
but the public is still left wondering
Yeah.
if there's more to the story.
Yeah.
It's like the legal case is closed,
Yeah.
but the narrative continues to evolve
Right.
in this, like, digital realm.
And I think that really speaks to just, like, the enduring power of these stories
Yeah.
and the human need to make sense of a tragedy,
Right.
to try to find answers, even when they're, like, really elusive. And I think the Lisa Zergert case just serves as this really powerful reminder that justice isn't always black and white,
Right.
and that sometimes, even with a conviction, that search for truth continues.
And it underscores our responsibility
Yeah.
as consumers of information to, think critically,
Absolutely.
to evaluate sources, to
Yeah.
consider multiple perspectives. We have to acknowledge that sometimes those, like, clear-cut answers
Yeah.
just don't exist.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the complexity of these cases and accepting that sometimes, even when, like, the legal process has reached its end,
Yeah.
the human story with all its nuances and unanswered questions just continues.
Yeah. So before we move on, let's just quickly summarize what we've learned from this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We explored, those discrepancies between the official account and public speculation.
Right.
Considered potential motives for a cover-up.
Yeah.
Emphasized the importance of, critical thinking
Yeah.
when evaluating information.
Yeah. We also discussed that emotional impact on Lisa's family
Right.
and that complex journey towards closure in a case that continues to spark debate and generate new theories.
Well said. Now, in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We're going to delve into the world of DNA technology
All right.
and how it played a crucial role in this case.
Yeah.
Get ready for some, I think, mind-blowing insights into the power of science
Okay.
and its implications for solving crimes
Right.
and seeking justice.
Yeah, it's fascinating how even after a case is officially closed, like you said, these online platforms become these spaces for ongoing discussion and, like, exploring these alternative theories.
Yeah, it's like this digital echo chamber almost, right?
Yeah, totally.
It just keeps amplifying all these mysteries that still linger,
Right.
even after there's some sort of resolution.
Yeah.
So let's jump into some of those public theories and speculation. One recurring theme centers around that eyewitness account that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The witness who described a struggle in the back of a Bronco or Blazer.
Yeah.
Shara's confession doesn't mention an accomplice at all.
Right.
So it makes you wonder if there's more to the story than he admitted.
It definitely raises some questions, right?
Yeah.
Was the witness mistaken in their observation, or could there be more to the story than Shara actually revealed?
Right.
Could there have been another person involved, someone who maybe helped Shara abduct Lisa or dispose of her body?
Yeah.
It's a possibility that some people find hard to dismiss.
Especially considering those comments on the Unsolved Mysteries page.
Right.
There's several people claiming to have inside information,
Right.
suggesting a cover-up or hinting that Shara took the blame to protect someone else.
Right.
It definitely adds fuel to the speculation.
It does. And it's important to remember, though, that these claims should be approached with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
I mean, online forums, they can magnify rumors and misinformation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we can't completely ignore the possibility that these theories could hold some truth,
Right.
even if it's just a small piece of the puzzle.
Right. Sometimes those seemingly far-fetched theories
Right.
can lead to unexpected discoveries.
Totally. Yeah.
Like truth is stranger than fiction.
It really is. Yeah.
Right. So putting on our detective hats for a moment,
Okay.
Let's say, hypothetically, that there was someone else involved.
Okay.
What possible reasons would Shara have for protecting them?
Right.
What would be the motive?
That's a question that delves into the complexities of human relationships and motivations.
Yeah.
There are a few possibilities.
Okay.
Perhaps the other person was a close friend or a family member, and Shara felt an overwhelming sense of loyalty or obligation to shield them from the consequences.
Right.
Or there's the possibility that Shara was threatened or coerced into taking the blame.
Right.
Maybe the other person had leverage over him, something that they could use to ensure his silence.
Right. It's like we've opened this Pandora's box of possibilities.
It is.
Suddenly we're in this world of secret alliances and hidden motives and the potential for like a much larger conspiracy.
Totally.
Makes you wonder how deep those secrets could go.
Exactly. And it emphasizes like that human element of these cases, right?
Yeah.
We're dealing with real people with these complex relationships and these hidden secrets and motivations that we may never fully understand.
Yeah.
It reminds us that truth can be subjective and that even confessions don't always paint that complete picture.
And we can't forget about Lisa Ziegert's family
Right.
and the impact that all of this speculation has on them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the emotional turmoil of having some form of justice but still grappling with these unanswered questions and lingering doubts?
It's got to be so difficult to find true peace and closure.
Yeah.
It undoubtedly adds another layer of complexity to their healing journey.
Yeah.
These lingering mysteries can keep wounds open and prevent families from fully moving forward. It's a stark reminder that closure can be a long and winding road, especially when dealing with such a horrific and impactful crime.
It's a reminder that these cases don't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
They have these real-world consequences that extend far beyond the courtroom.
Absolutely.
So here we are, we have a confession, we have a conviction,
Yeah.
but the public is still left wondering if there's more to the story.
Right.
It's like the legal case is closed, but the narrative continues to evolve in this digital realm.
It really speaks to the enduring power of these stories and the human need to make sense of tragedy, to find answers even when they're elusive.
Right.
And the Lisa Zergert case serves as a powerful reminder that justice isn't always black and white, and that sometimes, even with a conviction, the search for truth continues.
And it underscores our responsibility as consumers of information to think critically, to evaluate sources, and to consider multiple perspectives.
Absolutely.
We have to acknowledge that sometimes those clear-cut answers just don't exist.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about embracing the complexity of these cases and accepting that sometimes, even when the legal process reaches its end, the human story with all its nuances and unanswered questions continues.
So before we move on, let's just quickly summarize what we've learned from this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We explored those discrepancies between the official account and public speculation,
Right.
considered the potential motives for a cover-up, and emphasized the importance of critical thinking when evaluating information.
We also discussed the emotional impact on Lisa's family and that complex journey toward closure in a case that continues to spark debate and generate new theories.
Well said. Now, the final part of our deep dive, we're going to shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We'll delve into the world of DNA technology and how it played a crucial role in this case.
Right.
Get ready for some mind-blowing insights into the power of science and its implications for solving crimes and seeking justice. All right, so we've explored all the twists and turns of this case and those lingering questions
Right.
that still kind of remain. But now let's dive into something that I think is truly fascinating.
Okay.
The role of DNA technology and how it impacted the Lisa Zergert case.
Okay.
Remember that composite image we mentioned earlier, the one released in 2016?
Right.
Created using DNA phenotyping.
Yeah.
It was a total game changer.
It was. It really was like a window into the past, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Allowing investigators to predict the physical appearance of a potential suspect
Yeah.
based solely on their DNA.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a sketch artist that can work at like a molecular level. That's what DNA phenotyping is.
It's like science fiction come to life.
It really is.
And in Lisa's case, this technology helped reinvigorate this decades-old investigation
Yeah.
and ultimately led to Shara's arrest.
Right.
But this isn't just like a cool forensic trick, right?
Right.
It has some significant implications for solving crimes and providing answers to families who have waited years for justice.
Oh, absolutely. DNA technology has revolutionized the field of forensics. It's changed how we investigate crimes. and how we identify suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, a single drop of blood, a stray hair, even a tiny skin flick can now provide this wealth of information, linking perpetrators to crime scenes
Right.
and even exonerating those who were wrongly accused.
It's amazing how this tiny piece of biological material
Yeah,
can hold so much power.
it is, yeah.
But with this incredible power comes a huge responsibility, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we need to be very mindful of the ethical implications that come along with this technology.
Yeah.
Ensuring that these tools are used responsibly and ethically.
Yeah.
It's this balancing act of harnessing the power of these advancements while also safeguarding individual rights and preventing their misuse.
Right. It's a conversation we definitely need to keep having.
Oh, absolutely.
But bringing it back to the Lisa Zergert case, do you think this case would have been solved without these advancements in DNA technology?
It's really hard to say for certain, but we know that DNA evidence played a critical role in identifying Shara
Yeah.
and building that strong case against him.
Yeah.
It provided that irrefutable proof of his involvement, which wouldn't have been possible without these breakthroughs.
Right.
Yeah.
So in a way, Lisa's case serves as a testament to the power of science.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
To bring resolution to families who have endured years, even decades,
Yeah.
of unanswered questions.
And it also highlights, I think, the importance of continued research and investment in this field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Developing and refining these technologies could help us solve more cold cases,
Right.
bring justice to more families.
It's a reminder that science can be this powerful force for good.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
The chilling details of Lisa Ziegert's disappearance, the ups and downs of the investigation, the crucial role played by traditional detective work, and this cutting-edge DNA technology.
Right.
It's a story that underscores the enduring pursuit of justice, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy,
Yeah.
and how sometimes the path to the truth can be long and winding.
It's true. And it encourages us, I think, to consider those broader implications of these powerful technologies, those
Yeah.
ethical considerations that come with them,
Right?
and the importance of this ongoing dialogue to ensure responsible and equitable use.
And most importantly, it reminds us to acknowledge the human impact of these crimes
Yeah,
and the resilience of those who seek justice and healing.
absolutely.
So as you continue to reflect on this case, we leave you with this thought.
Okay.
In a world where technology is constantly evolving, how do we ensure that its power is used to protect the innocent, bring the guilty to justice, and uphold the highest ethical standards?
It's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
One that will continue to shape the future of forensic science
Right.
and the pursuit of justice.
It's a challenge we face collectively, and one that demands, careful consideration and this ongoing discussion.
Well said. That brings our deep dive into the Lisa Zergert case to a close.
Wow.
We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking, and maybe even a bit inspiring.
I did.
Remember to keep seeking knowledge, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
I will.
Until next time.